San Francisco, and Nepal.
And we're back here on Around the World. I'm Arthur von Wiesenberger. Sitting next to me in the co-pilot seat, we've got the author of No More Heroes, Henry Biernacki, also a pilot, which we've just been talking about off air. You fly with Virgin America, yeah. Virgin America, and before that, China Airlines out of Taiwan. Yeah, you've seen the world already from the seat of a pilot seat.
Yeah,
we just fantasize about it, but you actually do it.
I try to. I think true exploration comes from walking on it, though. But you can see a different portion by being in the sky.
Now this isn't in his book, which is you just explained. This is a fiction book, but you just got back from North Korea.
I have. I just returned from North Korea.
What was that like?
Mentally isolating and draining.
Really?
Yes.
How do they receive an American? Are we the devils?
I think,
North Koreans?
Honestly, I believe over there they're watching each other, so they don't trust each other. They don't trust anybody. They don't only trust Westerners, but they don't know them from the United States or anything. They look at you, and the average person there really, truly wants to talk to you, but we're not even allowed to talk to them.
They had you escorted from the time you got there?
Yes. As soon as I exit customs immigration, somebody comes up, and I have 3 guards with me the entire time.
So did you cross across the DMZ? Is that how you got there?
No, nobody can do that. You can go to that from the North Korean side,
right,
but you can never cross it. That would be a big no-no. You'd probably have some...
Because it's a fairly wide swath of land, as I understand.
It is. The DMZ is the 4 kilometers wide, but there's the military demarcation line, which is what divides that south and north side. But I got to that side, and I entered one of the blue buildings, but you can never really do anything. They tell you what you do, when you see it, when you eat, when you sleep, and there are 3 guards with you the entire time, even if you use facilities like... Really? Oh yeah, they're always with you. But I had great people around me. I don't overstep my bounds. You as a traveler, you know.
Yeah, you follow their customs and rules, and everybody is happy that way.
Exactly.
I understand, by the way, that there is a company in South Korea that's producing DMZ water that they're actually pulling out of that area.
Really?
Because since no one's been there since the 50s, it's a pretty clean area. And I mean, short of a few bullets, I guess.
Yeah, exactly.
But I mean, the water apparently is quite... I understand it's good. I don't know. I've not tasted it. Speaking of tasting, what was it like? Did you eat any of the food?
Oh yes, that's all you have is the local food.
And how is it?
It's very fresh, obviously, and they make sure you, as a traveler, tourist. I'm more of a traveler, but they're your tourist because you are on their whim.
Right.
They tell you what to do when to see it. Usually on.
Do they tell you like what time you got to wake up?
Yes. Yes.
Wow, it's really regulated,
yes.
huh?
They tell
what
you
time you go to bed?
Yes.
And they're just waiting outside your door till it's like the Soviet Union was before the.
I think it's even more controlled because it's a smaller group in area landmass, so it's easier to control. But I never felt unsafe.
Did you see? You know, when I was in China in Beijing recently. They had a North Korean art gallery that had a lot of those propaganda posters done as the original artwork, which are really quite beautiful.
Yeah.
Some of them are great, like the one of the North Korean soldier women with the fur hats on.
Oh, yes.
And you look at it and you go, wow, this place looks like a kind of, in a way, a fantasy land.
Yes, it really is.
See that? I mean,
all over the place. That's the murals of the Kim Jong-il, Kim Il-sung, and they call him the dear leader and the great leader. Kim Il-sung is the great leader, they call him. But if you want to see some photos, globalhenry.com, the website does have some North Korean photos on it. But yeah, it's all over the city. Rosy cheeks, smiles, everybody's happy.
And that's what you see?
Yes, everybody's. But then you see the average person that you cannot talk to.
How are they looking?
They look pretty...
downtrodden?
Yes. Yeah,
I mean,
exactly.
It's very poor, isn't it? I mean,
oh, yeah.
You've got enormous poverty there.
Out of 120 countries I've been to I think that's probably one of the top 2 countries in poverty.
Wow.
But the people, they look at you and they really want to talk to you, but if you get within 10 feet, the guides that I'm with, they kind of say, no, come back this way. Come back this way. We're not allowed.
Can't even talk.
No.
And I imagine they don't have any internet or ability to get...
No, you cannot use internet. You cannot use a mobile phone. You cannot take a computer in. They take it from you. They look at them at the night and they say, okay, delete this, delete that.
Really?
Yes. So I actually went there for writing, and so I was writing a lot more. So they loved that. They truly just enjoyed that somebody would write, not so much about their country, but they look at it as a form of education, that I was taking it down rather than just taking a photo and leaving.
And to get a visa to go in, where did you do that?
It took 1.5 years.
Wow.
Yes, it's one of those patient things. They want to see if you really want to go. Because, I think this year they're allowing 1,500 people in the correct way rather than sneaking in way.
Do people sneak in?
That's when you get to 12 years hardship.
Oh, yeah,
yes,
we
exactly.
those people, all right.
Exactly. But it took 1.5 years. But I mean, being an airline pilot, I can get over there really easy into Beijing.
Right.
And that's what I did. I got to Beijing and then waited for more paperwork. It was just paperwork. They call it paperwork kind of / visa, but it's more.
The bureaucrats.
Yes.
That work and play.
Very well.
Which they do well. Wow. Okay, so that's fascinating. I want to hear about that. That's just the next book, right?
Yes, I have. It is coming.
You've written how many books?
5.
Unbelievable. How do you do that between flying? I mean, you got your hands full.
I think writing is actually work and flying is the relaxing, to be honest.
I concur with that. What was it? A wonderful writer for Newsweek, Elizabeth Peer, once said, she said, I hate to write, but I love to have written.
Yes.
And I think that often is the case. It's great to actually have it in your hands. And here is a book from Author House, and it sells.
The hardback is $24.95.
$24.95, and you also have a paperback version of it.
And the Nook and Kindle, it's available on that as well.
You're right. Tell us about this story a little bit. What inspired it, and how'd you create it?
As most people, traveling is for people. They're my monuments, and I traveled on $3,700 in 1997 for 1 year.
That's incredible.
Yeah.
We were talking about that beforehand. I mean, these days, you can spend that in a night or two traveling.
Yes.
What how rough did you go?
Sleeping on the streets.
That's rough.
Yeah. But to me, if you have student loans and you only have $3,700, you go to the extent of wanting to see the world. Right. And that's what I said. I'm going to go, what do I need? Well, I need water, food. I don't need a shelter. Right. I mean, honestly, it was that simple. Breathing.
You brought a tent and a sleeping bag?
No, at first I did not.
Really?
Yeah, I literally was out in the
streets. So would you aim for like warm destinations?
Sometimes I was in wintertime in Eastern and Western Europe. So, and then I hitchhiked through Siberia. Got on a train there and entered China through that. But the premise, I never really wanted to write. It just fell in place of meeting people. Mm-hmm. So
were you like keeping a journal? Or?
Yes, I have several journals. But really small writing. The backdrop of the website is the journal setting. So if you ever want to get bored and just look at small writing, just go to the website. But by traveling more and more, I realized the buildings aren't talking to me. And when you're alone, sleeping on the streets, it's the people. Right. And so I started documenting the conversations. And so I started thinking, a book having a good geographical setting with great descriptions of what this book is in San Francisco and Nepal. And in that is the characters. And I can make up the characters, or they can be true to life. And then you put meaningful dialogue, such as about life, traveling. What's the difference between traveling and tourism, and being a tourist?
And what is the difference in your mind?
I think, honestly, I realized this in North Korea, that you're on their schedule. They kind of tell you. Whereas a traveler has no money, but he has all the time in the world. Mm-hmm. Whereas a tourist, they're rushing to a place because they have to go back to work. And I never really had to go back to work.
So they're on a schedule.
Yes.
And then the traveler has a little more freedom to explore. Sometimes a traveler can have money and still explore.
Yes.
I mean, it depends, but I see what you mean.
And as a young kid at 24, I had absolutely no money.
So you were a traveler.
I was, and I tended, like coming here to the studio today, I took the city bus. I want to learn from the airport, from Santa Barbara to here. How do I do it?
And how was that experience?
Uneventful as most things. I mean, you'll have occasional, like...
Good to know.
Yeah, in Pakistan, I was pulled off a bus because I was in an area of Kashmir where I shouldn't, with machine guns. Wow. But you just find your way. But the book, it is about life, death, friendships, the Bay Area, Nepal.
Okay. We're going to get into that book, but we got to take a break. So the author is Henry Biernacki. The book is called No More Heroes. And when we come back, we're going to find out what the difference is between San Francisco and Nepal. I bet there are a few. Stay tuned. We'll be right back.